Nielsen Ratings is a show just for you. We talk film, TV, both old and new. We discover new things, our taste get broader. So here's the show's host in no particular order. He's a little rough, he's a little caustic. Everybody knows the most, the one and only toxic. From way up top, you'll find the northern the start. Who forgot to press like when he used StreamYard. Stupenzolicious gonna judge you on your sense of cool by asking you what's your favorite Mexican food. He shouldn't tell secrets, but you know that he can. It's the Hollywood goss from an inside man. Run by Lindsey, sometimes drinks cappuccino. Everybody thinks he looks like Quentin Tarantino. So come on in and join the Nielsen Ratings. It's a show that you've all been anticipating.
What's going on? Welcome to the Nielsen Ratings in February, 10 o'clock every Tuesday, where we review stuff that we think you should watch, old and new. A bit of mix of everything. Today we're going to be doing a bit of a special on films that have covered the subject of Munich in honor of the film September the 5th, which has just come out. We are going to be talking about some other stuff too. We're going to get into the Black Hawk Down documentary, Apple Cider and Vinegar, which recently dropped on Netflix. And also, I dare say my guests have got one or two other films or shows up their sleeves to recommend you. But before we get into all that, let me bring in my panelists. It's the king of the Mexican mountain of food, Stupenzo.
Hello.
How you doing?
Doing good. I was going to make some shrimp tacos later today. So pretty interesting.
Okay.
I'm doing all right. Shrimp and chorizo? No, not really. I mean, maybe Gordon Ramsay might think they're spicy. Pickled jalapenos. Oh no.
Well, he might not be a master of the kitchen, but he is the master of the North. It's Northern English Bastard.
Hello, you beautiful bastards. And right now, I fancy a shrimp taco. Thank you, Enzo.
That's good.
I know. Put us in the mood. What's going on? Shrimp and chorizo. Haven't had that combination in quite a while.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
Slaw.
Last but by no means least, it's the actual old bastard of the group, the Inside Man. Except that we can't hear him. What's going on?
Delay.
Hello.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, sorry about that. Apologies.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there's all this newfangled technology.
Right. Start as you mean to go on.
Yes.
Anyway, how are you?
Yeah, tickety boo, mate. Tickety boo.
Excellent.
You're sounding rather a considerable amount better than you were. I'm
afraid not.
No,
not too soon, man.
My cough is worse than ever, and I actually had to go to the doctors today. So, and they're quite worried about me. So they're gonna be sending me for an extensive. I thought I had an X-ray already on the 14th, but they're sending me for a more extensive X-ray. That can pick up other things. I thought that was the purpose of the first one, to pick up shit that was wrong with you. But maybe I guess that's kind of like the NHS regular X-ray, and now I'm going for the premium version. I don't know.
Yeah.
What can I tell you? Anyway, all right. Well, going to get into a few things, but I did task my panelists with watching a movie that actually dropped in 2024. Did the festival circuit a bit, and it came on my radar a few months ago. And in fact, we had a look at the trailer on one episode of the Nielsen Ratings, and I said, "Guys, this looks good." So as soon as I could watch it, I made an effort to do so, and that's one of three films that covers the events of the Olympic Games in Germany, Munich, 1972. When the terrorist organization Black September took several Israeli Olympians hostage, murdering two in the process while they broke into the very unwell protected compound. And I mean, Germany was making a big effort with this Olympics to kind of move on from the sins of its fairly recent past.
We're sorry.
It's only 30 something years since World War II and the Holocaust and whatnot. So it was a huge embarrassment for them. What also came out of this was that Germany did not have, because it had scaled back its military so much, it did not have any special forces or specific combat unit to deal with this kind of terrorism. And as a result of this, the unit known as GSG9 was actually formed. And that became Germany's counterterrorism team. And there's various incarnations of it now that exist within different branches of the German military and police. But September the 5th is quite unique in the sense that this is entirely told from the point of view of the American ABC broadcast team, who ended up sort of broadcasting this to the world, the footage of which is incredibly famous. So having seen 2 good films on this subject and a documentary that's very detailed, I wasn't sure there was room for another one, but I was wrong. And the perspective and also the detail and the things that these guys did to keep their story on the air and how they found a way to sort of broadcast it, including sort of moving a camera out of the studio, and because it was all happening 2 buildings away from them, is actually quite incredible. One of them dressed up as an athlete to carry extra rolls of film to their guy who was a little bit closer in what's now kind of sealed off perimeter with press and terrorists alike kind of trapped inside it with the police. Really well acted. And it's got a fantastic cast in it, including several of my favourite actors, Peter Sarsgaard being one of them. I'm a massive, massive Peter Sarsgaard fan. Ben Chaplin, also very good. All of the cast are great. So I really rate this. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Who else saw it?
Yeah.
Everyone?
Yeah.
We all did, I think.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That's a first.
You tell me
Everyone
to
did
watch
their
a
homework.
90-minute movie, I got no excuse. That's no problem.
Yeah. Everyone did their homework. Okay,
I also-
Stupenzo, what are your
I also watched that damn miniseries you told me to watch. I hope we talk about that.
the prison cell thing.
Yeah. So anyway, September 5th,
We'll get
I thought it was
into that.
okay. Like you said, I mean, I think maybe this movie, like if Munich and those other, stories about this didn't already exist, I don't know. I think I'd feel more favorable. This movie feels like it's pretty good if you watch it in tangent with Munich and, any other kind of, Israeli hostage movies, documentary shows. Because like you said, it just kind of covers this one, smaller aspect of the whole thing. And because of that, I mean, I feel like, it was like an interesting spin on it, but it was kind of one of those things where I feel like you're doing sometimes less isn't more. Like in this example, and there's basically only 3 or 4 main takeaways that happen from this movie. Number one, it's the first time people were watching terrorism live on the air, so it was getting really crazy ratings. And this is like a game changer for like what to cover on the news, and that stuff's all pretty poignant and on point. But the other points were a lot of them were mentioned in the first 5 minutes of Munich. We thought the terrorists were. We thought the hostages were freed. They weren't. There was a big 180, a big carpet pull on everybody. There's also this element that, what else? The other one, I had another problem with just like one scene, one line in one scene, but they had to throw it in there where, there's the lady, she's the German interpreter. And some guy in the control room's like, "Hey, get me a coffee." And she goes to get the coffee, and then the German stuff comes on, and some guy's like, "You got rid of the only person that we need. She's so important." I'm glad that they didn't do anything like make her like the number one guy, like, increase her.
She was the translator predominantly. That's why she was there. Isn't it?
Yeah, and she's a great actress. I've seen her before. But I don't know. Like I said, I'd give it more like a. Like if you watch this before Munich, like that'd be a great double feature, basically. I think on its own, like if these other Munich movies didn't exist, I think it could have been, I don't know, more appreciated. But yeah, I was kind of like how Lance said, like I just don't know if this is necessary. Surely there's like another similar story, because the idea of like we're gonna have a movie that takes place on a control room. That's another thing I take away from this movie, like. Really just kissing ABC's ass, Like, ABC's the best. Like, we're ABC, damn it. It's the sign of quality. I guess back then there was like 5 channels, and ABC was one of them. But yeah, the idea that we're going to have a movie based totally around a control room, I don't know. I feel like you could have picked another incident maybe that wasn't covered already in a much better, more successful Steven Spielberg movie. It's one of those things where, like, because Steven Spielberg made Munich, I'd imagine like a lot of people had doubts about even trying to make it, because Munich is a pretty awesome movie, and it's one of Steven Spielberg's.
We're gonna talk about Munich as well in a second. So let's focus on this for now.
Oh, but boy, I didn't know that.
We're gonna cover all 4 of the Munich films, 3 in the documentary.
I mean, this is one of those movies I think your average moviegoer is going to find incredibly boring. I was okay with it, but I didn't think it was great. Didn't reinvent the wheel for me. It was just a quaint little movie. It was reserved, but it was short, so I got to give it points for that. So, I mean, I'd give it like a good 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10.
Well, your time's up, so I'm going to have to turn to Northern Bastard.
Yes, I will agree it is the weakest of the Munich movies, mostly because when you got the 21 days in Munich and Munich,
21 hours.
Getting more,
21 hours.
21 hours,
You can go on for 21 days. It might have been resolved more successfully if they had that kind of time.
Yeah, 21 hours, okay. Well, the thing is, with those special movies, the people are getting more involved in what has happened, much more involved, because in the first one, you got people like, the diplomats trying to resolve this peacefully. And then you've got in Munich, you've got the Mossad agents going after the people who planned this and not stopping as well, being totally relentless over what happened. And they're mostly just in the background observing and keeping the cameras on everyone. And that's mostly it. You've just seen it from their point of view. There's not really much stakes, and what they're doing doesn't really benefit the terrorists or the diplomats, but it's still a very interesting point of view from these. That's
what I liked about it. I was really interested in. I found it particularly fascinating how it came about that they nearly delivered the wrong news and how they received that news. Stuff like that was all new to me.
Yeah, and it doesn't make the film terrible. I think it is a very decent film. It's very well acted. I mean, I like John Magaro on there as well. I thought it was because I liked him last year in Roy, Texas as well, and I think he's very underrated. And he did a very good job as this guy who's been given this bigger job that's pretty much extends from what he's usually working with. And even when he's told he did a great job, he still feels like he's defeated because the athletes still got killed. So yeah, it's an okay movie. I'll give it.
What do you give it? What do you give it out of 10?
I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Give it a 7 out of 10.
Inside Man. Can't wait to hear your thoughts.
I've got to be honest with you. I was a little bit unsure going into this one, but I was absolutely gripped. I was really gripped. I thought it was a superb piece of work.
Good. Don't open that letter that I sent you last week. Just ignore that. Ignore that letter.
It was. I mean, I'll agree with Enzo in as much as that it's a fantastic companion piece to Munich. It really is. But I was surprised at exactly how gripped I was with this movie, and the acting was just incredible.
Yeah, that was why I give it such a high rating, because of the acting, the production design as well, and the directing for me were all on point.
Yeah, I thought the story itself, the whole kind of theme of the movie was really quite interesting. It's really interesting to see a completely different angle. I mean, we do, whenever we see these kinds of movies, we do see loads of, action and, gunfire, and you imagine, much like the Entebbe films that were made. But this was a completely different point of view, and I found it quite interesting. I didn't know much about the whole broadcast side of things and how ABC had the exclusive on this, and this was like their biggest ever broadcast. But one of the things that was quite fascinating to me was the way these characters were actually they became very much invested in this as a human event in the end, rather than just from a journalistic point of view or a broadcast point of view. There was that emotional investment from those characters, which I'm sure many journalists, many TV journalists do have. They do have that. I mean, they're not all complete monsters and have hearts of stone. I'm sure they must get very invested in the the lack of humanity that they see wherever they go, particularly war correspondents. But I just found it really a really interesting watch. It didn't tell me anything that I didn't already know about the massacre, or the siege per se. But it gave me a different perspective, gave me somebody else's perspective, a different angle. And I always find that quite interesting, to have a different take on something. There were a couple of lines that did kind of, sort of rub me up the wrong way a little bit. And that was, we have to make the definition of the word terrorist absolutely clear to the audience. So I thought that was a little bit clunky. And the other one was
there was the bit when they're talking about. I quite like the debate about, because bearing in mind this is the first time that there was ever a live broadcast of anything like this. This is pre, London Embassy siege, which was another big one, where they're having the debate. Well, what if? Are we going to show somebody getting murdered on television? Because no one, they'd never been faced with that dilemma before.
That's right. Yeah. And it's a huge dilemma, I think, for any live broadcast, particularly at that time when that broadcasting rules were very, very strict, stricter in America, far more stricter in America than they were over here. Their rules for TV broadcast was incredibly stringent, but it was an interesting watch. I'm glad that you brought up the point of GSG9 actually, about this being the incident that really created the foundation of GSG9, who incidentally are superb. They really are quite something. I mean,
next to the SAS, they're probably one of the best anti-terrorist organizations in the world.
Yes, they are. They're really exceptional. And it's just a shame that security was so lapsed. It wasn't lapsed. It was deliberately disengaged. There was a real sort of disengagement with that. But I understand that Willy Brandt at the time, he was of the opinion that they didn't require any kind of special forces. I mean, there were certain prompts from other European nations to set up something like the SAS, but Willy Brandt just maybe not necessarily ignored it, but thought that it would, have too many connotations of the past. But all in all, I thought it was an excellent piece of work. I really enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And if I was going to score this, I'd give this an easy 9. It's I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Well, good to know the inside man and I were right on this occasion. Fantastic. So good. Yeah, well, overall, though, I think that's a strong recommendation from the panel. If
You
anyone
know, and
else
something
has
else I
seen it-
liked about this movie. Something else I liked about this movie was like it's kind of like a movie built around a documentary because all the footage they show in the control rooms is like real. You know,
yeah,
they don't
yeah.
reenact. They don't
Good
reenact any of the actual terrorist stuff, which is interesting.
Yeah.
You don't
I
come
thought that was
across
cool.
like actors trying to act. They really do look like they're just playing these ordinary people. Just how
Yeah.
ordinary people would act to watching this.
Right.
Yeah.
And not only that, they're the people who are actually filming this as well and playing it live to everyone. But I think there was one little plot thread which I thought could have been established a little bit better, and that was when Ben Chaplin goes up to Skarsgård's character and says, "Okay, if someone gets shot, whose story are we telling?" I would like to have seen him delve into it a little bit more, like his Peter Skarsgård's character kind of chasing ratings, and he kind of regrets it later after everyone has. I would love to have seen a little bit more of that with his character. Like he tried to sort of like chase the golden goose, but sort of realized what he was, realized his downfall for it.
Yeah, well, it's too late to warm up to it now. You've given your mediocre response. So, teasing. Yeah, Inside Man, you gave me a great idea for a Chew the Fat stream, which is that we should do a Chew the Fat where we digest all 4 Ontebbe movies. And I've set Stupenzo a challenge to see if he can produce a thumbnail by the end of this.
I'm on it.
By the end of this stream for that.
I could do it in 10 minutes. I think
there's
that's the
4
hardest.
There's
is just
4 on
just
Tebby
collecting
movies.
the 4 thumbnails is going to take the longest time.
This is the best time to get you to do these things because you're trapped on my stream. So
Yeah, and I'm not talking right now. So yeah, exactly.
yeah, there we go. Well, we're gonna. I mentioned this last week. We're gonna talk about. There are 3 other films that cover the events of this, all from slightly different angles. The first one that came out was actually 21 Hours at Munich, and it was a made-for-TV movie, so I think it did get a limited cinema release as well. But I saw it on television, and I saw it on television in 1976, and I must have because I would have been a toddler when the actual events took place. But you know how you're plonked in front of the TV as a kid, and the news might come on or whatever. It's one of those things where I remember when I was watching this, thinking, "Oh, I feel like I saw some of this," but then it was probably also talked about on lots of subsequent news programs and things of that nature after it happened, of course. So the footage was some of those iconic images of, the terrorists standing on the balcony and stuff like that. They were kind of seared into my head. One of the things that's really interesting in this film is it's told from multiple perspectives. It's very much an Americanized production. So we don't have German actors playing the German roles, as was typical of the time. This would not have got commissioned. And Germany wouldn't have wanted to make it either. It was too soon for them. But it did have a really good cast. And Anthony Quayle's character, who is the sort of Israeli security specialist, he's constantly trying to advise the Germans what to do. And they ignore every suggestion that he makes to their peril. And I remember him saying, "You must ambush the coach in the tunnel. At least some of the hostages will survive. If they get on the helicopters, they're all dead." And he was right. And the ambush at the airport is extremely poorly planned. Now, I'm not sure about the APCs arriving at the end, but up to that point, the rendition of what happened at the airport in this film is actually quite accurate, because the gun battle went on for quite a long time before they turned around and shot all the hostages. I mean, the German snipers must have been some of the worst on the planet, because, and there were only 5 of them as well. I mean, you should have had 2 for every terrorist. So, yeah, very poorly planned out. But this film is of its time. but it is quite. It's you know it's worth watching. The whole thing is on YouTube, and I'll just pop it up. You got Franco Nero in it playing the leader of the terrorists, of course, and I just show. I'm going to show a tiny bit. Risk copyright here, but so yeah, and it all goes tits up pretty fast. But you can see all of this on. You can watch the whole thing on YouTube. It's there for free. I rewatched it again for this stream. It is of its time, but I think as an overview of the entire event, it's pretty good. To be honest, Inside Man, have you watched it recently?
Yes, I watched it. Yeah. You kindly sent me the link to this, I think, on Sunday when I gave it a watch. I thought it was again exactly the same as you. I thought this was a really interesting take on it. It didn't really, again, didn't give me anything that I didn't already know, but it was an interesting dramatization of the events. You're absolutely right. You know, this looks like a made-for-TV movie, but that aside, it's a perfectly competent account of what happened.
Yeah, with some good performances. I mean, thankfully, William Holden isn't doing some sort of hello German accent in it, which would have dated it really badly unless he'd done a really good job. But yeah, I think Northern. I think you watched it as well, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Just this morning, and yeah. TV made for movie quality aside, the actors do a really good job. They do come across as actual professionals trying to resolve this situation with as less bloodshed as they can. And but these guys are just too these guys are too angry at the Israelis, and it was done from the start, and it's still very well done.
Well done. I mean, again, it's of its time, so but it's not too Police Squad. Yeah, I'll give it sort of like a 6.5, 7 out of 10. Worth watching, free on YouTube. It depends though. Did you watch it as well?
Afraid not.
Afraid not. No, I was eating Mexican food. Okay.
Yep.
All right. But you have seen Munich, Steven Spielberg's film.
Yeah, it's one of those movies I didn't really like at first, and watched it a couple more times. You're like, nope, this movie is actually badass.
Do you know what? I forgot that I'd taken 12 people to see this for my birthday, and it's not in Silver Screen Journeys because it's in the period of my life where my memory's missing. But somebody reminded me recently that we went to see this, and I suddenly thought, God, yes, we did. And we talked about it, and a sort of little fragments of that day came back to me, and I remember coming. You know, we all came out of the cinema going, God, you know. Yeah, that was really fucking heavy. You know, let's go and get it. Let's go and get a drink. But it was a film that I wasn't sure that I liked at first either. I also thought that the depiction, I was expecting a Spielberg-esque depiction of the events of Munich, and what we got was sort of 3 kind of truncated scenes of that. Very well shot, but really what this is a film about, it's more about, does the end justify the means? Does the it's really about the campaign of Mossad to track down and kill anybody who was involved in either the planning of it or had anything to do with it whatsoever. And they killed a lot of people, and it came to light later that the first would-be terrorist you see getting executed, the guy who steps out the lift and they hesitate to shoot him and then they shoot him, he was completely innocent. It came out later, he had nothing to do with Black September whatsoever, nothing. So they were misinformed about him. So he had literally just gone to Italy to translate, think bits of the Quran and blah blah. So that's obviously, they did take out some really important people, but it's it's also a film that's got some major historical inaccuracies. I won't get into them all. You can read about them. There's a big section about that on Wikipedia. But one of my favorite scenes in the movie is when these two teams go to this safe house, and they've been double booked at the same safe house with a terrorist group of the PLO, who of course wasn't responsible for Black September Munich. So they're not after them, but they are terrorists, but just in a different organization. So they have to pretend also to be terrorists from Red Faction and things like this. And they all sort of end up having this kind of chat. I thought that scene, although a bit fanciful, I don't know if it actually happened, but I really liked it. I thought it was an interesting juxtaposition. When you watch this now, after everything that's happened in history, and of course this came out not that long after 9/11, the arguments and the questions that it poses are more relevant today than ever. So Stupenzolicious right. It's definitely a film that's kind of grown on me. I've realised how brilliant it is, as opposed to kind of how depressed I felt when I came out and watched it
Well,
first.
yeah, it's definitely darker than most Steven Spielberg movies. It's literally like murder, assassination missions. But yeah, he's got his standard DP, Janus, whatever, the guy who did Vanilla Ice.
Same guy that shot Schindler's List, right? I think same guy.
He did Cool as Ice. He did Cool as Ice, Vanilla Ice's movie, and Schindler's List in the same year.
I mean, you need to do something light after doing Schindler's List. So
I think he did it before. But what's crazy is Vanilla Ice's stupid movie, Cool as Ice. If you've seen it, it's awful. But you got to admit, it looks amazing. It's filmed so well. It's filmed like a music video.
Yeah,
There's really great staging and shots and stuff. But my favorite scene in this movie is when the ladies like trying to get naked to seduce them, and they kill her with the barrel guns that you like.
Talent.
You like screw like a barrel closed, and you just like slap the back of it and fire a bullet out of it.
That was real stuff, though. The MI6 used to use that. He used to put in lipstick, and
you could smell.
Got a nice little bit of lipstick. Bang, bullet in the head.
But first time people, a lot of really Daniel Craig showed up on people's radar, and I love what was that movie, Knocked Up, when they're describing Munich. They're like, dude, you've never seen like a bunch of badass like Jews before in an action movie, And it's like, Munich, the Jews are getting revenge, That was just so funny. But yeah, I mean, it's a pretty wild movie, and it just kind of ends, But I think the whole point of that is like it just kind of. You got to reflect upon, what these people have done. Was it worthy? Who knows? Maybe Munich was all an inside job. Who knows? I don't care. But yeah, I think, like I said, though, with we were talking about September 5th, it's like pretty much all the major plot points in September 5th are pretty much covered in the first like 5 to 10 minutes of this movie. And like the opening scene of this movie.
They circle back round to it at the end.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's just a wild movie. Very well done. Probably not, best picture worthy. It didn't win best picture or anything, but I mean, it was like on a lot of people's best of 2005 that year. And I was like, no, but now 20 years later, compared to all the crap that's out now, it's like, nope, this movie's really good.
Inside Man. What are your thoughts on it?
I thought it was an outstanding piece of work. I think it's one of Spielberg's best, actually. But I like the way as Enzo says, it just ends. It more or less just stops, and it is one of those reflective movies. But I think
stops with that shot of the two towers. In the background.
I mean, there is one thing that. There is one thing that both this and September 5, and it is September 5, not September 5th.
Oh, thank you for correcting me.
So just quickly, my thoughts on that September 5 title, because it's not September, 5, as it should be when you're writing the date. It's just September 5.
You don't write a comma after the month.
You do.
Man, God, Britain's weird.
Anyway, carry on.
And I just wonder whether that September 5 is more of a reference to the 5 terrorists who died, who were killed. So that was my little thought. But anyway, one of the things that both of these movies had reminded me was exactly how long the war in the Middle East, or the conflict in the Middle East, has been going on for.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that was part of both of the movie's purpose as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, 'cause
because
it-
he's talking to one of those Israeli terrorists, isn't he? And he kind of has this little monologue about just all this trouble between them and Palestine that's going on for thousands of years, and it probably will never end.
Well,
Palestine.
1947 has been going on since.
Yeah. Right after World War II, basically, when the state was created.
Yeah, September 5th kind of has this, like you said, it starts off with this more like, hey, we're just here to cover the news. It's not our job to get involved in this, why this is happening, you know. We're just supposed to report on what is happening, you know. It's over our heads. We don't live in these countries, and we wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think a big issue I've always said, like, you know, there's always going to be conflict until like a winner is declared. That's the problem. No one ever is declared winner. They just kind of retreat and go back to normal, and then they start fighting again. It's like, hey, one of these lands got to get conquered. I'm sorry. It's just that's how conflicts end. Someone has to win. So
yeah. What would people? Oh, sorry, Northern. Did you also check this out again recently?
Not recently, but I don't remember pretty much of it very well. It's just a very good action movie, which is about the consequences of a very disastrous event, a very tragic event, and it's just a very good revenge, assassination, spy type of movie. You see the life start to take its toll on them as well, where straight after the final assassination or whatever, he's getting all paranoid. He thinks someone's following him. It's it's not just the tragic events that affect these people. It's what they do after as well. I mean, all the killings, all the bloodshed. I mean, even some innocent people get caught in the crossfire during a shootout.
Lots of them, I would say. It's got not one, but two James Bond villains in it as well.
Yeah. Drax.
There's Drax, and you got the other guy who's like the go-between guy. He was also a major Bond villain in the Craig.
What's his name? He played Dominic Green in the shit one, Quantum of Solace. He's in this, and he's actually good in this as well. He's actually good in this.
Forget the name of the actor. A huge portion of this movie was shot in Malta. Pretty much every scene that's not set in France or wherever was shot in Malta, and including even like the beachfront Israel stuff, all shot in Malta. And the sequence where the two groups, they sort of come out of that building, both exit, and you got people shooting at them, and they end up shooting at them from both directions. That whole kind of harbor. I actually remember sitting and having an argument in that harbor when I was on that holiday for reasons I won't get into. This is the final shot of the movie, and the two towers had to be CGI'd in for that shot. And of course, modern buildings that have come since had to be removed. What would people give this out of 10? It's an easy 9 for me. Stupenzo?
Yeah, I'd give it a 9. 8.59. It's not my favorite Spielberg, but it's definitely, like I said, his darkest movie by far.
Yeah.
Because
it's a film you can only rewatch every 5 to 10 years or so. This is the only time I've watched it.
Right, it's darker than Schindler's List, which is crazy because Schindler's List is all about the Holocaust, but Schindler's List has this, this kind of uplifting message, whereas this is dark. This is a movie about revenge and murder, and that's it.
I've probably seen Schindler's List about 8 times, maybe total.
I watch it every Christmas. I'm just kidding.
I've only seen this part of your Christmas lineup. I've only seen this 3 times. Once at the cinema, once when I bought the DVD, and then once when I showed my ex and we sat and watched it. So, yeah.
The funny thing is, I could watch this more than Schindler's List. Because, I mean, even though it's dark, you still get some real cool action and paranoid spy stuff going on as well.
That is true.
Yeah, but you've got to get through all the heavy stuff to get to that action. I don't know.
I can probably handle heavy stuff a bit more than Schindler's List.
Yeah, Schindler's List is heavy. But you see, me and the Inside Man were brought up on World at War, so we'd been well prepared for Schindler's List.
Absolutely right. Yeah, absolutely right.
So, when I saw Schindler's List, there wasn't anything I saw in it that shocked me, except for maybe the guy picking off people with his rifle. That was the only thing I didn't really know had happened. All the stuff with executions and all of that. I mean, I knew it had all happened. Obviously, it was presented in a very visceral, Spielberg, only the way Spielberg can. But yeah, you watch World at War and you see the episode about the extermination camps and the Holocaust, mate. That's going to prepare you for anything to come after that.
I've seen the actual footage as well of dead bodies being bulldozed into pits. It's disturbing. It is. Yeah, it'll stay with you, lad.
So, other ratings out of 10, Inside Man, what would you give it?
Yeah, an easy 9. Yeah, it's a great film. It's beyond a good film. It's a great film. I love this movie.
Yeah, Jeffrey Rush is very creepy in this movie. I do love that scene. You're signing a contract to say that you don't officially exist, nor does the contract officially exist. We're going to pay you some money into a bank account, and you're going to go and do things that we don't know about.
Yeah, what's that line he says? Do you like sweets? No, you should avoid sweets. You just hide away your dental records.
Yeah. So it is a good movie if you haven't seen it. So if you want an all Munich weekend, okay, we got one more to talk about, and then we're going to move on to other stuff. The thing that brought the subject back up, and perhaps also was partly responsible for Spielberg getting his film commissioned, I suspect, was the amazing documentary One Day in September that came out in 1999. I saw it at the cinema. I saw it at the Curzon on the opening weekend in their main screen with an actor, a friend I think I was working with at the time. And I think this was probably, maybe not the first, but it's probably one of the first documentaries I ever saw at the cinema. Because I'd moved back to London a couple of years earlier, I think it was. And where I'd been living previous to that, documentaries just didn't get a general cinema release. They might come out on video, then they would go to telly or whatever. This one was one that did really, really well internationally. It's narrated by Michael Douglas, and he talks us through all of the events in real detail, along with a lot of the footage and stuff that we've already seen. And it really does give an insight not only into the events itself, but just, God, what a massive cock up it was. And it's got the only interview ever with the main surviving terrorist. So that's quite a coup. It's really, really, really good. And you've also got the wives of the poor Israelis that were killed. But yeah, I highly recommend it. If you haven't seen it, you will learn more about it. Even if you've watched the 3 dramatizations, there's more information in this than probably any of the other films on the subject. So, to triple out that billing of comedy for Sunday afternoon, you can throw this documentary in as well. I'd give this documentary a very solid 9 out of 10. Inside Man, have you seen it? I think you have.
I've not seen it. Do you know what? I've no idea why this has passed me by.
Right.
I don't know.
I
don't
do.
know why I haven't seen this.
You were probably getting ready to film Band of Brothers when this came out.
Oh, it's possible. Yeah, that's possible. But it's one that I'm going to get. I'm actually going to see if I can track this one down and buy this. This is really right up my street.
Yeah. You were in Band of Brothers?
Yeah, he was in Band of Brothers. Northern, have you seen it?
No, I haven't. I might check it out.
Stupenzo, it's yellow, which is similar to a lot of Mexican logos. So have you seen it?
I did not.
Okay, all right. I tried. All right, so yeah, One Day in September, the perfect documentary about... Aaron Charman is saying he's not very familiar with these films. What order would you recommend watching these 4 feature films in? That's a good question.
That's a good question, actually.
The order we showed them in? Actually, no. Go back to 21.
I think 21 hours in Munich first.
Yeah,
then
September
September
Munich, and then September 5.
Oh, I
Then
mean, I would
September
actually, I would actually do September 5 because you don't see anything, and then you see everything happening.
That's
in
a good idea, actually.
21.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do September 5, then do 21 hours in Munich, then do Munich, then do one
Munich,
day in September, which will fill in any blanks you're missing. Or you could wait for the Lance Mega Cut, where I cut all three of those feature films together into one long super Munich mega movie. And I could.
You could.
I absolutely could, but I'm not going to do that. I am going to do a Mega D-Day film, though. And I'm debating whether to, if I use The Longest Day, I'm debating whether to edit the whole film in black and white so that all the Saving Private Ryan stuff that I include is actually all in black and white.
Interesting.
Anyway, yeah. Got to go one way or the other. I can't, So we'll see. All right. So let's move on to something more cheerful. Black Hawk Down documentary. No, we'll come back to that. Who's seen something comical? Anyone watched any comedies? Any of your choices got a comical, more uplifting narrative?
Yeah. I've got I've got a movie called Who Could Kill a Child.
No,
sorry, that's not a comedy. That's not a comedy. Sorry.
Anyone?
Well, there is one I did watch that's a comedy, but it's not a good. It was not a good film though.
No, I watched.
Depends. So hit me with your choice. What you got? I know you're gonna have
a bunch of Tom Green stuff. Tom Green. I don't know if you know Tom Green. You remember him, right?
Sausages.
Right. So Tom Green he's making the rounds because he is living on a farm right now. And it's very interesting because he had one streaming platform that released a stand-up comedy special, and he has another streaming platform that released a documentary, and then he's got another streaming platform where he's got this show about him living in the country. And I haven't seen the show yet, but the documentary and the stand-up special were both pretty good. The stand-up special wasn't that funny, but it was getting a little insights of Tom Green, the kind of guy he is. Him and his dog show up on stage, and I got a mule. He just sings a couple songs. He talks about technology. He ribs on the audience a little. It's fun. But then I watched the documentary, which is basically like covering his life up to the stand-up special. The stand-up special is talking about what he's been doing. So I guess the show about him living on a farm is like after this. You should check that out. But the documentary was really, really good because not only, Tom Green's a crazy guy, but it really showcases like, what a pioneer the guy's been. Even though he's got, really stupid, childish, irreverent sense of humor, he's always been like ahead of the curve in terms of pop culture and technology. He's basically the inspiration for what's his name? Joe Rogan doing a podcast. He was the guy who brought back Man on the Street style comedy. He's the guy who brought back, he was the inspiration for Jackass. He was been doing this stuff, this like weird, he's wanted to be David Letterman since he was like 20, 19, 18,
Right.
going to, he started out as a hip hop artist and a skateboarder, and then just quickly decided to pivot to comedy, and he was doing a bunch of weird local access Canadian television, and because of that he got a spot here, a spot there, then he got an MTV show, and he just blew up. He was everywhere. Eminem started singing about him.
So this is a bit like Clarkson's Farm, except it's Tom Green's Idaho country farm or whatever.
Yeah, and
basically, if Jeremy Clarkson was trolling everyone, because that's it. That's what I like about him. He just doesn't care, and he seems so normal as well in real life.
He is. He's a very down-to-earth guy.
We have a look at the trailer.
Hit in the eye by something. Not in Hollywood anymore, huh?
See, I did not watch this show, but I want to.
Hello, folks.
Let's have a look.
My name's Tom Green. I've just made a big change in my life. After spending 20 years in Los Angeles working as a comedian, actor, and TV host, I finally decided it was time to go home. So I sold my house in the Hollywood Hills, and I bought this 100-acre farm way out in the wilderness of Canada. But not all that far from where I grew up, and close to my family. Welcome to my little slice of heaven. Welcome to Tom Green country. Not a lot of bugs around here, is there? I'm not a second guessing moving to the country at all. No? I love it here, man. You like the chicken coop?
Fancy.
What do we like to get? Like fancy chicken coop?
Oh, you want them to have like a good experience.
Yeah.
Put the hook over first, and then I think it will be easier.
Really? No, your mother was a hooker.
Kind of nice. He's lucky. His parents are both still alive. It's kind of nice.
New sisters.
Yeah.
Your new big sisters. Wow. Welcome. Hello. Hi, guys. Oh, wow. Jeez. Are they supposed to do that? Whoa, you're beautiful. Hi, Fanny. Wow, you are a gorgeous girl. You two are like some of the first TV parents to be pranked on television.
I do recall that.
Welcome home.
Aw.
Wow.
Look it, she loved it.
Oh, yeehaw. I'm not in Los Angeles anymore. I lived in LA for 20 years and I never felt at home. Been back here for just a very short period of time. I already feel like I'm home.
Oh, really?
You're lucky, man.
I'll tell you what, I might write to Tom Green and say, can I, any chance of popping over and staying there for a month? I'll help out with the chickens and
Dude, here, especially after watching this trailer, here's the thing I realized about Tom Green. Like, first of all, he got famous. He was just a regular guy who got famous in a time where you had to know somebody. He got on TV. Now, because of podcasts, like anybody can go viral. He did it the old-fashioned way. But now, his whole shtick back then was being, crazy, over the edge.
Weird.
Now his whole thing is about being wholesome. And his whole message at the end of the documentary is like now, because of like all this stuff that he basically is partly responsible for, this idea of like going viral or broadcasting from your own home. Like that's the thing he says is like, you can live anywhere and work, do whatever you need to do. There's nothing, you're no longer shackled to have to live in LA or New York or these big places. You can go do your own thing and still be, a successful entertainer or whatever it is you're trying to do, all because of technology. And it's funny because of the technology, the advancements in technology, you can live a much more primitive lifestyle like Tom is doing, and you can go back to your roots. You can be closer to your family. You can do the things that you should be doing. But because of the technology, like you can actually have less technology, but the technology is stronger, so therefore you're not limited. It's really crazy how profound this guy is. On the surface, when you dig deeper, Freddy Got Fingered is an insane movie. It makes no sense, but what you realize is Freddy Got Fingered is Tom Green just like trying to see what he can get away with. Trying to see like how much of this Universal Pictures money they can burn. Very similar to Andy Kaufman's Heartbeeps, which we'll be watching tomorrow. Just like, hey, we're gonna give you a blank check, make whatever you want, and be like, okay, let's see how far I could get with this. I don't know. Yeah, Tom Green, I think he's one of these people that we criminally undervalue. Because it's only after watching that documentary where I realized like what a big deal this guy was to pop culture.
Yeah, I mean, I remember he dated what's her name, Drew Barrymore at one point. I seem to recall, and I always remember that wasn't it in that movie, Dude, Where's My Car? He's got that scene where he's sort of toying with feeding the mouse to the giant python. In the
Road Trip. Yeah,
Unleash that fury.
Yeah, and it's I remember watching that and thinking, God, this guy is a nutcase. Like I feel like I'm seeing the real person rather than an actor playing a character. And then
he talks about that in the documentary where he always feels like he had to go over the top,
Yeah, I'm sure it was a bit like Drinker, it's a sort of this, projected persona kind of thing. I'm just going to address something in the chat. Admiral Teague says the Longest Day has a terrible blue screen fail in the opening scene. Why did they start with that? Au contraire. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to pick you up on this. It's one of my favorite films, and I know everything about the making of every shot in this movie. This is not a blue screen shot. This is the opening shot of The Longest Day. It's not a blue screen, nor is it a back projection. This was actually shot on a beach I think it's in Sardinia, if I remember rightly, which is where some of the beach stuff was doubled, and then a load of it was shot in some other sections of France. That's the opening shot of the Longest Day movie. It's not a blue screen shot or back projection, as it would have been called then. So, nor is this shot. So, what are you talking about, man? Okay, so don't come up with that nonsense on my channel. Right. Okay, so Rommel on the Bluff. Yeah, that's not the opening shot though. You said opening shot. You said so that's not the opening scene. So the opening scene is the guy getting killed with the documents. So yeah, when Rommel turns, yeah, that's a back projection because the actor wasn't on the location where they filmed that set. I know the shot you mean. That shot's a bit horrible. Yeah. So be specific, man. I'm going to pick you up on that kind of thing. Right. Okay. Anyway, let's move on. So Tom Green. Okay, Stupenzo, you see anything else?
Yeah, I watched 2 violent, funny, weird Valentine's Day movies. They're both new. I watched Companion and I watched Hard Eyes. And honestly, I heard from different people both were terrible, and I liked them both. I thought they were both pretty good. Okay, but they both had some really decent moments. Hard Eyes, I don't know, typical slasher fanfare, slasher fic. There's a lot of, the killer's super powerful or super vulnerable, depending on what the plot needs at that point. Who the killer is a big nothing burger and totally, underwhelming.
Did you say it's called Hard Eyes?
Heart Eyes.
Oh, Heart Eyes. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's about a serial killer who's been running around the past couple Valentine's Day, and everyone in the town is, afraid, or not even town, everyone in the nation is afraid of being, the next Valentine's Day killer victim. He kills people that are specifically together, and the whole point of the movie is this: these coworkers are having a bit of a, blossoming romance, and they're being stalked by this guy. All that stuff is stupid. What I did like about it was pretty funny. Unironically, there was some great little dialogue bits and jabs. It's not quite like Marvel humor, but it's like kind of in that vein. There's some specifically there's a scene where they're being chased by the killer and they find themselves laying on top of each other on the street. And they kind of, I don't know, they think they're safe and they start kissing, and then the killer shows up again. And a line like, "Hey, we're not together. Yeah, go kill somebody else." Like that kind of stuff is peppered throughout the whole movie. And it just, I don't know, put a smile on my face. But still, I'd say it was still pretty mid, but there are some great death scenes in it. I'd give it a good solid, 6, 7, which is good for a slasher film. So, that was a recommend, I'd say. Maybe wait till it's on streaming though. You might not like it. I thought it was okay. I probably won't watch it again, It was decent. Nothing to write home about though. Like I said, it wasn't unwatchable.
Keith E has made a great point here. The worst day to work in the hotel/hospitality business is February the 15th.
Ew.
It's disgusting. It's disgusting 15. Yeah.
I bet that
I can imagine why. You want to be
painting.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hotel sex is the best, because it's like, hey, we got a hotel. We don't have to clean up anything. Let's just go nuts.
Let's destroy the sheets.
Yeah. So the other one, like I said, Companion, I heard this movie, avoid, don't even watch it. I checked it out. And again, this is why we don't trust even our friends, make up our own mind, watch the movie, make up your own mind. I thought Companion was very good. It was very original. It was a great little plot. I mean, I'm sure the trailers have already I wish the second trailer didn't spoil what it was about. The first teaser trailer,
I haven't seen any trailers for it, so we won't watch it now.
Well, the first teaser trailer is very vague, and you think this is some kind of weird, abstract kidnapping movie, maybe, or I don't know, something like that. And the second trailer just spells it all out. It's about a rogue companion bot. We have sex bots in this future, companion bots, and they're becoming the norm. And this individual, Meg Ryan and Dennis Quaid's son, he jailbreaks his companion bot for a reason, and stuff goes wrong. There's issues because you've jailbroken your companion bot. It does have a lot of girl boss stuff going on at the end, and it is a little predictable here and there. But it's just an interesting premise. And like I said, just great death scenes and just very dark sense of humor. Definitely
Very
worth a watch.
long feet in this shot.
Yeah, she got them Jessica Biel feet, you know.
Tarantino would go nuts for this shot here.
But yeah, again, this one I'd also give a solid 6 out of 7, B- style. Probably worth watching. But yeah, I mean, this one had a very good God. This one had a real this is probably the first killer sex bot movie I've seen. I hope we get more of them,
I think there was another one on Netflix a few months ago.
Oh, Subservience. That wasn't really that was more like a maid bot, a nanny bot that you can have sex with.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
I think this movie could have done better if it tackled like the whole incel thing, like who are the type of people that are using these companion bots, It doesn't really touch on any of that stuff. Basically, this guy,
Dennis Quaid's son,
yeah.
Jack Quaid. Yeah,
it is. He, his whole thing is like he's jailbreaking his companion bot to help him, complete some plan. The idea that just blame it on the companion bot. I didn't break the law, she did. Maybe it's just a glitch. And of course, it just backfires in his face so wonderfully.
He really looks like the guy from Dawson's Creek in this shot. You know what I mean? No, the other guy, Pacey.
Oh, not Joshua. What's his face?
Yeah,
right.
Joshua.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
he really looks like him in this picture.
I mean, both of these movies, not great, but these are some solid Valentine's Day viewings. If you're going to go to the theater and you want to see something that might get you laid, I think these would work. Hard Eyes more so. I think Hard Eyes might get you lucky more so because chicks dig violence, and that one is definitely more violent. This one is more original and not as funny. But like I said, the humor in Hard Eyes is a little kind of Marvel-esque. Everyone's making inappropriate comments at weird times. But I don't know. I still managed to crack a few smiles. This one was actually a lot of oh, that's cool. This is stuff I haven't seen in a movie.
Toxic like this one as opposed to the last one.
Yeah, I would have to say I think I like Companion a little bit more than Hard Eyes. Probably a lot more actually when I think about it, but Hard Eyes was not, like I said, I would probably rewatch Companion versus Hard Eyes. I probably won't need to rewatch that one for a while if I ever. This one I'll probably give another view soon. Like I said, it was fresh. That's really one of my main critiques of a movie. Is it fresh? Is it something I've seen 100 times before or isn't? That's kind of important. And, like I said, it does get a little girl bossy at the end, but I'll allow it because she's a damn robot, So what do you want?
Again, I feel Jack Quaid is really channeling his inner Joshua Jackson in this picture.
His hair's bussing.
We should do a side by side. So what would you give Companion out of 10?
Like I said, I give both about a 6 or 7 out of 10. 6.5 out of 10, we'll say.
All right.
B-.
Pacing ourselves, we'll go to Northern first. What pick have you got for us this week?
It's not a pick I'd recommend, but I will mention it anyway. Love Hurts with Short Round from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom in the lead role. He
has a name,
Yeah, I'm not going to pronounce it. I was calling Mr. Kwan.
I don't know his name either.
Mr. Kwan. Mr.
His
Kwan.
name starts with a K. That's all I know.
Yeah.
It's Quay Kwan, isn't it? Quay Kwan?
Kwan. Yeah, I'll call him Kwan anyway. I'll call him Kwan for his last name, just so I don't disrespect him by mispronouncing his other two names. But yeah, it's about a realtor who's very well loved by his customers. He's very good at his job, but then his past comes back to him when hitmen start trying to kill him, and he finds out that the woman he was supposed to kill has come back, and she wants the money that she was set up for, that she ripped off anyway, and it's a big mess, but Ki Hugh Kwan is actually very, very likeable. He's the only good thing in it. Sadly, though, the rest of the film fucking falls apart, especially with the love story with Ariana DeBose, because she doesn't seem to. They don't seem to have any connection that establishes their relationship. There's no chemistry. They're supposed to be in love, yet we're never given any reason to feel what they're supposed to be feeling. We're never given any context to establish why these two should be a couple or why they are in love with each other.
What's wrong with the guy? I'm looking at this picture right now, and I'm already getting feelings. What's wrong with him?
She's dull. She's a horrible character. She's very selfish. He's got this real great life that he's put his violent past behind him, and she fucking interrupts it just for her own personal fucking greed. She says that she wants her life back just because she's working as a bartender now instead of a lawyer, and it's like, what? Well, you're supposed to be lying low. Not only that, she starts taunting the very people who are supposed to be thinking she's dead. She's an idiot. She's an absolute idiot, and it seems to be all about her and getting back the money that she ripped off anyway. She's a horrible person, and I'm like, why is she in love with this? Why is he in love with this woman anyway? Why is she in love with
that's
him?
kind of that's a major plot flaw that's not really properly explored or resolved.
I know the only couple that actually felt they had something was the Killer Raven. He's not this guy, but he's another guy called played by an actor called Mustafa. I forgot his last name too.
Cock.
And it was Mustafa. But
learn the names of the people. Honestly,
I know. The good points is
Google, man. It's not that hard, you know.
Yeah. The good points is Quant is very likable, and he deserves a better movie. He's got a very likable personality. He's very charming. He's got a very kind nature that you can't help find endearing, and he's kind of got that little Jackie Chan sort of thing going on where I was like, I don't want trouble, and he kicks some ass, and he feels bad about it because he's a very kind-hearted guy. And oh god, it's. I was really hoping I would like this movie. I really did. I was really hoping he would elevate this movie as well, and very sadly he doesn't. And he deserves better. He deserves a better script.
Give me a rating out of 10. Give me a rating out of 10 for this.
Fucking 2. Fucking 2. He gives it a 2. He makes sure that it's a 2. The rest is a big mess.
Inside Man, what you got for us?
I've got a couple actually. The first one is Would You Kill a Child?
Oh my god, I thought you were
being
joking about that.
That's awesome.
It's a
Let me guess, it's a horrible Italian movie from the 1970s.
It is from the 1970s. It's 1976, but it's Spanish.
Right.
And it follows a young English couple that arrive on kind of a nondescript Spanish island during the height of the sort of package tour holiday season, and something happens, and all of the children on the island suddenly turn into psychopathic maniacs and start killing all of the adults.
God, you know what? I think I saw this when I was a kid. I think it might have been shown as like a part of a season on BB2 or but I feel like it's coming back to me. I feel like I've seen it.
It's actually got a very disturbing opening 10 to 15 minutes while the titles are actually coming up. It's a very, very long drawn out title sequence with some real footage, and it's pretty grim. It's pretty disturbing. And of course,
I have to admit, I'm quite interested to see this again, because this is even sort of pre Children of the Corn.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
got that kind of vibe, isn't it?
It has.
One of the kids is actually holding a scythe in that image. Look at the girl.
There you go.
She's holding a scythe. Yeah.
But it's there is a theme to it. There is a sort of overarching theme to this story, which I won't really spoil for anybody, but it's really worth seeing.
The theme is kids don't play with guns.
Yeah,
What would
it's pretty shocking.
You give it out of 10? I'm actually very interested in seeing this.
I'd give this an 8 actually. It's actually a very good horror film. It's a very good European horror movie. And the Spanish do horror movies very, very well. Much like
and this
the
would be
Italians.
one of their very early.
Yeah.
This film, by the way, has got about 20 different titles.
Yeah.
Death is Child's Play. I can imagine Who Can Kill a Child. Probably not a great title. Do you know what? This is the video cover. I remember it having. This video cover was in the UK at one point.
Yeah.
I remember this poster.
Mm.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is a recent acquisition of physical media. I do much prefer my
Did you get this
media.
version?
Yeah.
Right.
And it is very good. It's a very, very
Did it
good
include like a
European
making of or anything like that? Was there
there's some interviews. There are
extras?
some interviews, and there are some extras on it. Yeah. But the Spanish are very, very good at horror. Really underrated at horror, to be honest with you. But
I think I vaguely recognise Prunella Ransom from something.
Yeah, I recognised her. I haven't sort of looked into anything else that she's done.
Let's have a quick
but
look.
She was very, very familiar.
Far from the Maddening Crowd. That's it.
Right. Okay.
She played one of the leads in that.
Yeah.
And she also did the Seagull Island movies, which I'm not familiar with. But I have seen Far from the Maddening Crowd, and she had a pretty significant role in that. She did episode of The Persuaders.
There you go.
And was a plague victim in Doctor Who. So
excellent.
There you go.
Yeah, but it's good. It is good. And I'd advise anybody to kind of hunt out some of these Spanish horror films from the 70s. They did an awful lot of the usual sort of Frankenstein and vampire stuff the same way Italian cinema did, and many other European countries. But this is really one of the best, and certainly one of the most disturbing. I'd recommend this, especially if you're scared of children.
Am I right in thinking, without to check if this is the film I'm sort of vaguely remembering, this shot isn't this shot in the penultimate reel? It's right near the end.
It's
somewhere in the last 10 minutes, isn't it?
Yeah,
Something.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it is the film I'm remembering, because
Yeah.
I vaguely remember what happens in this scene, but I'm not going to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it.
Yeah.
So, interesting. We have a question from the chat for our panelists. And you can chuck us super chats, but we'll to our regular people, we'll read yours out. Has anyone seen the new movie animation, The Witcher: Sirens of the Deep? Is that related to the Witcher thing? Or has anyone seen it?
No,
not even heard of it.
Witcher:
No,
Sirens
and it
of
is,
the
but I haven't.
What is it,
I'm
Stupenzolicious?
not into the Witch. It's The Witcher. It's a Netflix animated show from The Witcher.
Okay. So it is. It's set in the Witcher universe.
I'm guessing it's bad.
Well,
yeah,
I've not heard a thing about it. So.
It's got a 4 out of 10 on IGN, 60% on Rotten Tomatoes, 74 on PC Gamer. I don't know. It's a movie, so that's cool. It's not a show.
There are 9 user reviews on IMDb.
Okay.
Japanese style anime. Shall we have a quick look at the reviews?
No, Nick says it's a nuclear waste dump. Okay, so it wasn't good.
2 out of 10. The Witcher series writers did it again, and that's not a compliment. Okay, but deviates from the source material. The Witcher / he, him. Watchable. Definitely worth the wait. 10 out of 10.
That's a bot.
Company. 6 out of 10. A good addition to the Witcher series. Can't be that good if you're only giving it 6 out of 10. Story's not the best, but still good. The voice actor from The Witcher games carried this. Okay, so it's the same guy from the games. Right. Okay, well, we won't spend any more time on that one.
Yeah, thanks for correcting me, Nick. It's the only way I'll learn.
Inside Man, what else you got?
Spasmo.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so I had to go back to an Umberto Lenzi film of the 70s. So Spasmo, written and directed by Umberto Lenzi. Yeah. What can I say about Spasmo?
Well,
Apart from having one of the best titles, I think. Spasmo and Orgasmo, I think, are two of his best titles. Yeah, so there's a weird. Oh God, the problem is that if I say too much about it, it really is going to give everything away.
well,
Look, it's a
try not
slasher
to say
serial
too
killer.
much.
Okay,
And
it's a
does a
slasher.
hand explode out of a head?
No.
Oh, okay. Now I'm disappointed. Now I feel this poster has set me up for fake expectations.
So, serial killer, weirdo. There's mannequins involved, and yeah, it's. I'm going to keep it brief. It's creepy, but it's bloody brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Please, please, please
I
watch
feel
Italian
this was
giallo movies.
I feel this was repackaged for the 80s. You know, what's with this
Yeah,
cover here? This is
yeah,
like
yeah.
so you can have two more radically different posters, could you? One looks like a mad, crazy, demented horror
Mm.
film. This looks like some sort of like James Bond rip-off B movie.
Mm.
It's very Casino Royale 1967, isn't it?
Ennio Morricone did the score.
Yeah, he's
Is that a
done some.
yes?
Yeah, he's done. Sorry,
Is that a yes? He did do the score. 'Cause it's
I
here.
don't know. I don't know who scored it.
See on the picture here.
Oh, it is Morricone then.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Right. Oh, right. No, I didn't know that. But
I wonder.
no,
I wonder which Tarantino movie he nicked from this movie to use for one of his films.
We're all wondering clearly because no one had an answer. But I'm sure that Tarantino will have watched this undoubtedly.
Yeah, and he will have taken a score off one scene and put it in another scene in his movie because he seems to do that a lot, didn't he?
I didn't actually. One of the things I really didn't like about Inglourious Bastards, I'll be honest, was when he reused the music from Kelly's Heroes with the final assault on the town with the bell ringing sequence.
Yeah.
He used that piece of music in Inglourious Bastards, and straight away, all it made me think of was, this is the music from Kelly's Heroes. It doesn't work as well here. Why has he used it? And
Jonathan Ross made the same criticism when he was interviewing him about it. It was like, why do you keep using bits from this film and that film? And it's like, well, I don't want a composer to take away the power of I have over my own movie. And I was like, no, that's the whole point. Get an original fucking score. It doesn't take away your power of the movie.
I found it very distracting. So it did de-empower the scene for me. Inside Man, why has your first girlfriend got a cameo in this film? What's happening?
I don't know. I did ask, but I never got an answer.
Dole available for hire.
But yeah, there's all kinds of creepy stuff going on in the movie. Mannequins and stuff, or they refer to them as dolls in the movie.
I feel like I've seen this.
I think you would have seen this. I think you would definitely have seen this.
But I'm just looking for the, what was the VHS, and again, it's gone through a few title changes. But I mean, it's kind of a crazy title, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he in Italian it just means spasm. So
right.
But of course, over here it means something completely. It's very much let's just say a playground insult.
I like this title, Maniac. What's that about? What would you give it out of 10?
An 8, easy. Yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen any of Umberto, you will have seen some of Umberto Lenzi's horror or giallo. I mean, you've probably seen things like Eyeball and Cannibal Ferox, and So I mean, he didn't. What I love about Umberto Lenzi was he wasn't a director that confined himself to any particular genre. I mean, he is a genre director, but he is a multi-genre director, and that's quite unusual. He did Poliziotteschi. He worked on spaghetti westerns. He did Gialli. as well as your sort of standard horror, cannibal horror, that kind of stuff. But he's a good director. The funny thing about this one was it was originally, I believe, going to be directed by I think it was Mario Bava. I think was going to direct this originally.
The films
And
of Umberto Lenzi's that I've seen are actually he's directed 66 movies. And
you've seen a lot of them. I know that you have. I know that you definitely have.
I've seen. I'm not sure if I saw Demons 3, but I've seen Demons 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Ghost House. I've seen Wartime. I've seen Bridge to Hell. I've seen Iron Master. These are all films that got released with really nice covers.
Yeah.
In the 1980s video boom, that you would rent with far higher expectations than the movie actually delivered. I saw Eaten Alive. I saw From Hell to Victory. Yeah, I think I saw Tough Cop. I've seen Manhunt in the City. I haven't seen a lot of his horrors though. Orgasmo. We'll talk about that one another week. No doubt. Super 7.
Oh God, there's another movie called I think it's called Captain Orgasmo with Trey Parker.
No, it's just Orgasmo.
Oh, that's
Orgasmo. Yeah, I saw that at cinema.
It's hilarious.
I feel we should see Temple of the White Elephant at some point. What a classic.
But you're right about the artwork and everything on the video covers. I mean, they did kind of oversell a lot of the artwork,
Well, that was a shame for all the Italian films at the time.
Yeah.
That were...
But I do love the poster art. I mean, for the most part, they did use a lot of the poster art for some of the video covers. Fortunately, now they're reusing that poster art, and I much prefer that than something that's just been cobbled together on Photoshop. I miss really miss real poster art.
This was the cover for Bridge to Hell in the UK. I remember that on the video stores. It was just kind of like put guys with guns on it. Put some explosions and a helicopter and whatever might be in the film. And sometimes there were lots of things on the cover that weren't in the film. We'll add a tank. It's a World War II movie. Let's put a tank on the cover.
Yeah.
There's no tank in the movie.
And this was actually one of the reasons, funny enough, and it's a very, very important point to brought up. This was one of the reasons why we went from painted, really well crafted poster artwork and video cover artwork to photographs. It was because they were embellished so much and they gave us so much on the posters that had nothing to do with the movies. So there was it created a bit of a backlash. So a lot of the distributors had said, you have to create something that shows what's in the movie now. And the easiest and cheapest way of doing that was photographic. So that was part of why the poster art, the hand painted poster art, kind of declined, really, which is a great shame.
All right, we're going to move on. Who saw any episodes of Prison Cell 211?
Saw the first show.
I watched the whole thing.
Okay, so me and Stupenzo have seen the whole thing. Northern has seen a couple of episodes. I'll give my view first, as I was the one who told everybody to watch it. So I saw the first episode of this where I said to everyone, hey, I think this might be interesting. Check it out. And the short version, talked about it on the Late Night with Lancey the other night. The short sort of synopsis is it's set in Mexico. I originally thought it was in South America, but it's set in Mexico. It's a lawyer who's middle-class lawyer. He's going in to see his client in one of the worst jails in Mexico, which is all but run by two gangs. A riot breaks out while during his visit. He tries to get out. He fails, so he pretends to be a prisoner, and then he kind of gets used as a pawn by various kind of corrupt elements outside, as well as the gangs inside, especially when they find out who he is. I I really liked the first episode because it's got one of the best prison riot scenes in a movie or a show, TV show that I've ever seen. And the prisoners, the extras that they've got, really do look like criminals. Some of them, I wouldn't be surprised if they literally went to a prison and said, "Okay, you've got extra work," you know. But unfortunately, what happens with a lot of these shows, and I know it's based on a book, so I give it some leeway, is they get into this habit of making the plot so convoluted with so many different things happening that by episode 3 it started losing its realism and it started going into what I would call nonsense territory. And I just kind of wasn't believing certain character choices. I wasn't believing certain situations that we were presented with. I did see it through. It was entertaining. But what started out as, hey, this looks like quite a gritty, you know, sort of real drama show, actually sort of ultimately ended up becoming like a cross between, you know, if the A-Team did a prison movie or prison series, some of the, I mean, it's very violent, don't get me wrong, not like the A-Team where they shoot a machine gun and no one gets killed. Lots of people die in this and they die horribly. But it just became farcical. I just felt it broke too many laws in its own reality. It was fine, but it wasn't the great sort of show I was hoping it was going to be. So my overall rating for it is probably about 5 out of 10. Although I give the pilot, the first episode, I give that an 8, but diminishing returns thereafter. So Stupenzo, you're the only other person that saw the whole thing, so jump in.
Yeah, I thought it was, typical of Netflix. It's a little too long and just kind of meh. It's pretty good, but the thing is, there's already a better movie called Cell 211. This is actually called Prison Cell 211. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. By the time you're on episode 5 and 6, it's just feeling a little monotonous.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of the same. It's one of those things where you could have trimmed an hour off of this. I mean, to be fair, it's only 3 hours, like about 3-hour runtime. So
because the episodes vary, don't they? From like one of the episodes was only 30 minutes, and another episode was
a couple
like
of
45.
them, 30 or 40 minutes average. So they're not like, it's not 6-hour long episodes. 6 hours is always too long. That's 2 or 3 movies together. This is like the length of like one overly long movie, but yeah, I mean, like I said, it's just kind of depressing, and it's just I don't know. I wasn't really sold on the action. It's a lot of it's kind of like it has that Dread movie vibes, but set in a present day prison. Just we're locked in, everything's dirty and grimy, and I feel like, like I said, Cell 211, I don't remember much of that movie, but I remember liking it more. And that one, it's just Netflix, these streaming platforms just taking more successful movies and just trying to turn them into less successful miniseries. It's just a common thing.
Was the other movie that you saw also based on the same book, and it's a different adaptation?
Yeah, Cell 211 from 2009. And I want to say it was in English, or it might be no, it's in Spanish.
Let me
but that's like a Studio Canal movie. Yeah, and that one is how long was that one?
I see it.
In fact, it's 2 hours long. So basically the same thing.
It is. It's a adaptation of the same book. So this is a TV series.
And in this one, instead of him being some kind of lawyer impersonating a prison guard, he was impersonating a prisoner. It's a guard who's impersonating a prisoner, which I thought was I don't know which one's historically accurate. I don't know if this book it's based on a book. I don't know if the book's based on a true story. Probably
that I don't know, but I'll find out.
It is I noticed, I don't remember if the book takes place in Juarez, but the miniseries did. The old, Chihuahua, Mexico. That's like where I grew up, kind of. So that's cool. But yeah, and no, I don't think it is based on any true events. But
No, the
there are
original book is tells the story of a prison guard named Juan Oliver, who before beginning work is swept up in a prison riot. So he's still in his civvies. So he doesn't want to tell them that he's a guard. So it's a bit that. So what they did is they changed him to a lawyer
Yeah.
in the second adaptation, I guess, to spin off more kind of different political plot lines.
Yeah.
I think I might watch the original movie. It sounds better.
I remember I should rewatch it too. But yeah, I thought this was okay. I mean, I'd give it like a 5 out of 10, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where
I
went with it.
watched. I watched the dub version too because I was like, why not? Don't feel like.
But I thought you liked the Mexican accent, man.
I do. I prefer original audio. Obviously, is always better. But this is one of those things where I'm like, it's 3.5 hours long. I should probably just
I will say there were a couple of outstanding actors in this show. I thought Noé Hernandez is the kind of the leading sort of criminal guy. I thought he was quite terrifying.
I agree.
Diego Calva as the lead. He's pretty, he sells the role, probably oversells it a little bit, but he's not helped by the dialogue. Because I think his character narrative just isn't believable. I also like the guy. I like this actor who, spoiler alert, ends up getting his arm chopped off. That whole scene as well was so contrived. Like he's their main like bargaining chip. So what do? They give him a potentially mortal injury, which complicates their situation.
You chop off a dude's like fingers or toes. You don't chop off his arm.
Chop off a finger, exactly. And then they're trying to cauterize it with They're trying to cauterize it by heating up that big like meat cleaver thing, and oh my god, yeah. But Northern. So you only saw 2 episodes?
Yeah, I only saw 2 episodes, and the first one did start off pretty strong. I mean, we got this lawyer who's in over his head, and now he has to pretend to be one of them. Okay, I kind of like that. I liked Noé Hernandez. He actually had a bit of charisma to him as well.
First episode is really strong.
Yeah, the second episode, I found myself drifting off a little bit, but I thought, okay, it might get better now. Hearing you say it really gets ridiculous. I think, should I continue? Should I?
Well, I take it from the long pause that you left there, you did not continue. So,
I'm starting to wonder whether I should. I mean, maybe move on to another show that could be better.
I mean, it's not, when you get to the end of it, you don't feel like your time's been horrendously wasted. It just loses its realism. It had quite a gritty realism at the beginning, and it becomes more James Bond. It gets steps very into the realms of drama fiction to the extreme.
Yeah, because when I watch something like this, I want it to be a little realistic. We can have the odd little lacks of logic occasionally, but we still have to believe this is real and this could still be possible. I mean, because it looks very realistic. I mean, everything, all the cells look horrible. The conditions are terrible. Everybody looks like they haven't had a bath in fucking weeks because they're treated so badly by the guards who are corrupt as fuck. And yeah, it really put what you're saying has kind of put me off really going forward. I mean, there's other better shows out there, especially maybe on Netflix, that do this kind of story. Maybe I just need to find.
I'll give it one more episode and see. Maybe Inside Man. Did you see it?
Yeah. I hated it. I thought it was a steaming pile.
I made up my mind. Fuck episode 3. I'll find another show.
You're such a follower. Right. Okay. So
I've got to be
Inside
honest
Man.
with
Did you?
But most people just convince me. It's democracy.
Tell me about episode 1, though. Did you think episode 1 it had potential, or
no? Do you know what I thought about episode 1? In all honesty, I thought it was written in a huge writer's room, somebody from Netflix had said, "Hey, look, this is the movie, this is the book. Do you think if we do something really, really different, we can make this fly and people are going to swallow it?" And someone's gone, "Yeah." It's just, to me, it's typical Netflix non-tent. It's nothing. It's
Right,
absolutely
let's,
nothing.
Non-tent. I'm stealing that.
Yeah, dude, you could be right, because look at the writers' team. It's pretty big.
Oh,
All these people
So
got
you-
paid.
1, 2,
It's
3,
the fucking
4,
Dolphins and the Family
5,
Guy
6,
writing room.
7, 8. You've got 8 people on the writers' team.
yeah.
So you got 8 people in the writers' room. Let's see how many producers we have. Oh, a smaller number of producers. 5 producers, although of course Netflix would have been chipping in outside of that as well. But 5 producers. But yeah, it's a show written by a writers' room, so that's a good observation.
And it just really feels like it, but it's just what I come to expect from Netflix originals now. It's just it just doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't challenge me. I thought it was phony gritty. It wasn't gritty enough for me. It wasn't nasty enough for me. It wasn't dirty or grimy enough for me. And I could see, I mean, the setup, let's face it, I mean, we got to be completely honest here. Right? The second we saw the lawyer with his wife and, how they was talking to each other.
Yeah, that was cheesy as fuck.
And then
that was laughable,
and that clunky piece of exposition. Are you feeling a little bit down because, you have to go into the prison today and, talk to all the bad guys? Yeah, but, they might be bad guys, but yeah, somebody's got to defend them. I've got to be their defender. And you think, I know exactly where this is going. And lo and behold, it went precisely where I thought it was going to go. But I didn't like it. I really didn't like it.
I do I quite enjoy putting you through torture now. This is fun times.
You sadist.
When you look at the writers on it kind of goes back to that South Park episode where Cartman goes to the Family Guy writing room and it's all dolphins sending down ball ideas again. That's what Netflix is now. It's just dolphins sending a ball of ideas.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you are a sadist, but then again, I always, I pick you up on it. So I pick up on the challenge.
Well,
so I'm a masochist.
Listen, like I said, I had hopes for it. It had a strong episode 1, but I wasn't gonna. It did fall flat. It just got too in the realms of silliness, and actually, I think the silliness probably crept in by virtue of committee. If someone had said, somebody clearly on that writers' room said, this has got to be gritty, it's got to be real, the prison's got to look dirty. The production designer did a great job with this prison. But then somebody else said, but what if there's a secret hatch in the kitchen? And then somebody else sort of said, yeah, but how many times are they going to go through the secret hatch? Because they've gone through the secret hatch about 5 times now. And I don't know, there was just like the way the lawyer gradually, sort of, not really gradually, but pretty quickly was committing huge criminal acts. And then, I mean, spoiler alert, kind of ends with him staying in the prisoner as the king's shit. And I'm sure they'll do a season 2. That was just set up. Somebody came up with that idea and went, oh yeah, that'd be great season 2. That's not how, I don't think that's how the book ends. But Wormy Spoon says going into secret hatches is tight. Yeah. So
it was super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Yeah. Yes, it was the manatees that pushed the ball.
Yeah, I've just responded to him now. That was my mistake. I do apologise, Wormy.
That is one of the best pieces of writing in television ever. That South Park episode, incidentally. Yeah. So, Inside Man, what would you, give this out of 10? Dare I ask?
well, as you know, my generosity is boundless. So I'm going to give it
Indeed.
a big fat one. Yeah.
What would you give it, Norman?
I give it 1 shank out of 10.
Yeah.
I feel you may have been influenced, but I'll let you off. Before we move on, and again, I know I'm going to get copyright flagged for this, but it's just too. Oh, hang on, I've got it on the wrong thing. You won't be able to hear it. Hold on. Stop screen. Okay, hang on. There we go. That's the one. Yeah. Okay. Because I'm probably going to get taken off air. But
oh God, I still love that show. That show.
Yeah, it is that episode as well. It's a 2-parter. If you haven't seen it, it's one of the best South Park stories ever.
It takes the piss out of Richard Dawkins as well because South Park takes the piss out of religion. So why not take the piss out of atheism as well? Come on.
Well, indeed, absolutely. I'm going to have to trim out that segment as soon as I get off air. Rachel Percy says that's brilliant. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, you want to watch it. Okay, I've got a couple of shows to quickly discuss, and then we'll see if anybody else has any before we wrap up. So I've got 2, and actually both of these come with a pretty solid recommendation from me. The first is a 6-part mini-series based on a true story about and I do like these true story dramas, especially if they're done well. And I think this one is done very well, about this Australian woman called Belle Gibson, who basically conned everybody into thinking that through a healthy diet, she had managed to cure her brain cancer, which never existed.
Yeah.
And so you had a whole load of people who were sort of following her regime as opposed to going for cancer treatments. And of course, they were dying and so on. Anyway, she got exposed. And you got a separate narrative about another girl who has got cancer in her arm and refuses to have her arm amputated. And she tries a whole load of alternative therapies. And she has a big blog. And she's also based on a real person. But unlike the other character, she did actually have cancer. This is called Apple Cider Vinegar, a truish story based on a lie. What's great is at the beginning of every episode, a character breaks the fourth wall, talks straight to the audience and says, Belle Gibson has not been paid, nor does she make any money from this series. And in the first episode, it's the actress playing Belle Gibson, and she says the line in character and then says, what the fuck, why not? Which is great, and it's really clever. I liked it. I thought the leading actors were very good. I think it's great that they told this story because it's actually, it's a story about these iconic female characters who were empowering people, but to do the wrong stuff.
Yeah.
And, and there were serious consequences as a result. One guy lost his wife. I mean, it's quite heartbreaking. It's got some really fun moments in it as well. I mean, the lead character, Belle Gibson, she at her own son's birthday party, she faked a seizure because she wasn't getting enough attention, shit like that. So a truly awful woman. It's good. I give it a solid 8 out of 10. We've got an Australian writer in the house. And as he was saying, it was a major scandal in Australia. I've seen a documentary about it. I think there was a documentary that came out about a year ago. I have seen that. It's also very good. Caitlin Dever is the lead as Belle Gibson in this. Really
Great
good.
actress. Great actress. She
She is, isn't she? She's a fantastic actress.
Yeah, she should have played Ellie in The Last of Us. She should have. Come on.
Yeah, God, yeah. Maybe, I mean, is she too old for that role? But
She
I
can
mean,
play the
God, she
older
would have
Ellie
been
in the
better.
season 2, but she's playing Abby this time, isn't she? So
I mean, she's really good in this. There's a number of really great actors in this. Both of these actresses, Alicia Debnam Carey on the left and Aisha D on the right, are both great in this show. And yeah, I mean, it's a good show. What can I say? Solid 8 out of 10. Strong recommendation from me. I urge you to watch it.
Where is that one? Where's that streaming?
Netflix.
Netflix, right?
Yeah, and I mean, she was like named Woman of the Year, you know, for her bullshit by some big magazine. She got a publishing deal with Penguin, but these two reporters were on her case, and they basically, you know, they sent her a letter asking her to answer all these questions, including, you know, which hospital and which doctor diagnosed you with brain cancer. Well, none, because none of them did. Her own mother did an interview and partly blew her out the water, saying she called her own daughter a fantasist.
Yeah,
and was always. And this is the actress S.E. Davis who plays her mum. She's absolutely fantastic. Catherine McClements, who's the publisher at Penguin, who kind of believes in her. She's great in this as well. So yeah, really good cast all round. And I sort of watched 3 episodes before I went to bed, and I just ended up staying up and watching the whole thing because I wanted to see how it finished. And yeah, and then I googled the real people. A couple of them had their names changed, and you know, some heartbreaking stories there. So yeah, it's good.
there's some interesting footage of her being interviewed where she's really squirming. She did
a 60 minutes.
She did. Yeah.
And I think it's on YouTube, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it is.
Have you got the link for it?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen it for a while, but I'm sure it's an easy find.
Yeah, I'll see if I can. Actually, if one of my moderators, perhaps Adrian, Adrian Sherlock, if you want to get that and drop it in the chat for us, we might have a quick look at the real woman herself under fire. Yeah. So the second one I want to talk about. So that's a strong recommendation from me. 8 out of 10. Surviving Black Hawk Down dropped. Abseiled onto Netflix on Monday. It's only 4 episodes, and each episode isn't that long. I think about 45 minutes. So overall, I like this. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. But, and I do have a bit of a but here. Okay, what I liked about it was the voices in it are all. There isn't like a main narrator, or there isn't. There isn't sort of some other narrative. It's all voices of people who were there. So on that alone, it gets an 8 out of 10. And you've got several Somalis, which, plaudits for that. And you've got one special forces guy. You've got, I think, a couple of Rangers being interviewed. So there's a nice selection of different people. Plus you've got the pilot who was captured. So that's all good, but I wish that they had got one of the Malaysian APC drivers and included him, or one of them, who were the guys that went in to get them, because we talked about that film that came out last year, Operation Basara. I interviewed the director on this channel. You can see it's under the industry interviews, Adrian Tay. He was a fantastic guest, really lovely guy. And it was great to hear about how they filmed it. And it was all shot in Turkey. But those guys actually did a pretty tough job as well. And for me, that was the piece that was missing. So it felt a bit incomplete. I think the makers of the film knew this, because one of the closing credits says there are still many, 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 many stories on all sides to be told about this event. And I suspect that they probably couldn't get everybody that they wanted. Maybe they did reach out to the Malaysian unit. Who knows if they wanted to take part? I mean, you know, but it is good. It's worth seeing. Anyone else watch it?
No, but
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, mate.
Carry on, man.
I was going to say, yeah, I'm definitely going to watch this. 100%.
Northern, did you see any episodes?
I have watched the first episode, and yeah, it was pretty gripping hearing the soldiers and both the Somalian side of the story as well, and all the new recruits who were getting in there in the first time, you know, were very enthusiastic about, you know, getting into the army and training, and just before it all goes tits up for them.
I think the real coup of the movie, and anybody who's read the book will know this, is at one point, one group of Rangers got held up in a certain house, and within that house there was a mother with her family. You know, she had like a baby and some other kids with her. I don't think her husband was there at the time, and she was stuck in that house with the Marines for the whole with the Rangers for the whole battle. So they had bullets coming in the windows and all this kind of thing. And they got that woman. So I don't know how they got her, whether they went into Somalia to get her or whether she's already now no longer living in Somalia, but they got that woman and they got her on camera and they interviewed her. For me, that was definitely the icing on the cake in the documentary. And there's two Somali soldiers who were interviewed, including one who was, you know, probably responsible for killing a couple of Americans. So, and it, you know, those were the narratives that for me really made the documentary. No disrespect to anybody else. I hadn't heard these voices before, whereas I've seen other documentaries and I've heard a lot about the American perspective. Haven't heard much from Somalis on the ground at the time. You know, there's not a lot of them that are running around that have got YouTube accounts and shit, you know. So yeah, that for me is what made it.
It's crazy how the Somalis just turn on the Americans in a split second as well.
Yeah, I think it was a mess. It was a complicated situation. If you go into somewhere like that as a, you know, first world power in a third world country, you can look at several places where that sort of intervention has taken place, and it doesn't take long for it all to go to shit. There's UN soldiers being killed in Africa all the time, especially in the Congo. I think there was a whole unit of Kenyans wiped out not that long ago. So, you know.
Well, yeah, there's people in Pakistan getting killed by the bloody Taliban just because they were just because they were friends with the American soldiers before they got pulled out.
Yeah, now I know we're running out of time, but I know Enzo wants to talk about Yellow Jackets, which the next season's coming out soon.
Ew.
Hey, just repeating what your best buddy said.
It's projection. Projection, LT.
Projection, yeah. We know Lord Toxic's got the Blu-ray box set of season 1. So did anybody have any other films that you didn't get a chance to mention? We'll quickly do them now.
Escape from New York. Down, da, da, da,
that's a massive pick. Yes, it's very good. 10 out of 10.
Shall we cover it next week, Len?
Yeah. Let's cover it. I mean, it's you know, it's not an obscure movie that we can talk about for 2 minutes. Escape from New York is a massive conversation. I have the vinyl soundtrack. It's a great soundtrack as well.
I love it.
I love it. One of the things I really like about this film that I sort of learned about later is the huge amount of miniature work that they did for the movie. Like you just saw it, that shot there and here. This is not a plate of New York. That's a full-scale miniature that has had a set of that wall built in front of it, and then they're cheating the scale of it. So that's a miniature. There's a really good picture of it in the studio. If you dig around on the internet, you'll find it. So yeah, we'll get into Escape from New York next week. Have you just seen that for the first time?
Oh no, I've watched it plenty of times, and we're going to be doing a stream next Friday with Inside Man, Fandad, Critical, and maybe one more guest if they want to jump on. But I want to keep the
Well,
stream.
if I'm free, I'll come on. I'll see how my cough is behaving.
It's funny how it's such a schlocky film, yet it does everything right in terms of filmmaking, at least in my view, anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it's got some great stuff in it. It was so ambitious for the time. That's what I really love about it.
Yeah, it really was, wasn't it? I mean, it's I mean, doesn't it look so much bigger than the budget dictated? It really does.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. It's one of the films that kind of, lives up to the hype of the poster. You can't talk about it, Northern, without mentioning 2019, after the fall of New York. If you see the Italian poster for that, it's like,
God bless them.
The director went, right, let's do a poster like Escape from New York, and you wear a tash like Kurt Russell, yes? It's literally like that. And you see that poster.
It's so atmospheric as well. You actually feel you're in this like wasteland of a city, but it doesn't take itself too seriously as well. There's a tongue-in-cheek humor, even though everybody plays it straight.
I seem to recall most of it was shot in Detroit or somewhere.
It was, a lot of it was because
it was really run down.
Yeah, it looks like an abandoned shithole anyway.
Yeah,
no offense to anyone who does live in Detroit, because say what you like about Hull, it's basically the same.
I love the way you quickly added that in. Thank you for that. Once again, views expressed by my co-host, not representative of the channel Outcast Creative.
Hey, they could have shot this film in Hull and it would look no different.
I mean, mate, check out the Italian. Here you go. That's one version of the post. I think this is more the cover that we got in. And it's also got like a massive miniature opening sequence with this little kind of hover ship that's supposedly flying over the ruins of New York, but it really looks like something that a kid had a good go at in someone's basement and built. It doesn't look like good old George Eastman turning up in all these things. It's Escape from New York. It's not, but it's got some interesting things. But yeah, you have to see it to appreciate it.
Yeah.
So,
it has its charm. It has its charm.
I always like it when these apocalyptic B movies always have these weird cults dressed in the most weirdest outfits ever. It's for some reason
it's basically whatever they can nick off the lot. Basically, it's literally whatever they can scrounge, and also
they're just not giving a fuck anymore, are they? I love it.
Well, with a lot of these films, you'll see them recycled from movie to movie.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the guy wearing the eye patch played a very similar character, also wearing an eye patch in the New Barbarians, or it might have been Bronx Warriors 2. It was
Enzo Castellari, wasn't it? The director
what?
of those?
Yeah.
What did I do? Who did I cast?
Yeah. So what's that?
I'm just kidding. You said my name.
Yeah. So it's a film. Anyway. Okay. Her Australian accent was fine, Tox. I thought it was good. Yeah. Good show. I really didn't think about it when I was watching it. So, yeah. Oh, okay. Adrian Sherlock has got the link for 60 Minutes confronting the real Mel Gibson. Should we have a quick look at that? I feel we should.
Why not? Yeah.
Probably going to get copyright flagged again, but let's let me see if we can get that up on screen. I mean, we'll just watch a little bit of it. very quickly. Okay, go. Nearly had to listen to myself in the past. Okay, here we are. Yeah, so she wrote this book called The Whole Pantry. This episode is called Confronting Mel Gibson. Should be called Confronting Mel Gibson's Bullshit. So it's her story, her book. There's heart surgery deception, breast cancer deception, medical records, Belle's diagnosis, confession, childhood, Belle's apology. Don't want to see that. Brain cancer deception. That's a good one. That's
You can only wonder if Belle was seduced by the sympathy her heart surgery deception won her. But whatever the reason, her next claim of terminal brain cancer came a month later in 2009. While today Belle accepts she doesn't have a brain tumour, she maintains that up until earlier this year, she thought she did because her so-called doctor, Mark Johns, tricked her.
I'm trying not to laugh.
Why he would or if he even exists are still mysteries.
And the question is, why did I not initially go and get a brain scan?
Yeah.
Exactly. But curiously, at this point in the interview, Belle makes a stunning admission. She says as far back as 2010, she was having her own doubts about her tumour.
So I didn't know whether I was getting worse. I didn't know I was getting better. I didn't know if it was the same. I thought that it was important to go and seek a scan and be confident in where I stood.
I don't mean to be crass about it, but it was also the fact that despite being given a 4-month deadline, you were still alive.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, you can see the rest of that for yourself. So Nick says we should blame it all on Enzo. Never. I don't blame anything on my co-host.
See that watching that makes me really, really fucking angry. For very, very personal reasons.
Mate,
really
I know the reason.
Of course, we've all known people who've gone through that, and then this woman just lying about it, just for sympathy, just for attention.
Yeah. Well, inside man. I mean, I don't know whether to recommend that series to you or not.
No, I like something that's going to offend me, and
she gets her just desserts, so I think you'll enjoy it on that basis. Stupenzo, did you have anything else to recommend, mate, or was it just those two?
No,
I'm sleeping. What? Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Okay. Did you get the thumbnail done?
Yeah, I sent it to you.
Oh, you already? Oh my god. Okay, I was gonna show that.
He's like a wizard. He's a wizard.
He literally is Mr. Wizard. So, we have tomorrow. We have Industry Interview 100, which is great because we are going to reunite us with the guests that came on Industry Interview 1 and my two special guests. Well, I actually had three special guests. I had Critical Drinker. I also had Mauler and, of course, Jason Flemyng. But I haven't been able to have direct contact with Mauler. I don't have direct comms with him. So I have offered him an invite online. If he gets it, he's welcome to come on. But in any case, myself and my two guests are going to be chatting about what we think of certain genres of movies. What is our go-to movie of certain genres? What's the one we would whack on a Sunday afternoon if we fancy a Western, or if we fancy an action film, or if we fancy a comedy? What are our immediate go-to choices? And then we're going to discuss why we like those movies. So it's going to be a little bit different because we've already done an industry interview with Jason, and he's also been on my channel on several other occasions as well. So although we will take questions from the chat, especially super chats, of course, I don't want to just do a retread of industry interview one. So so it's going to have a bit of a different slant to it, and I think it will be quite good fun and sort of have a kind of we're down the pub talking about movies feel. So that is, in theory, assuming Drinker's flight from Miami is not delayed, that is tomorrow at 8 o'clock, the Dynamic Trio. So should be good. And looking forward to that. Stupenzo, what else you got coming up?
Tomorrow we're watching Heart Beeps, Andy Kaufman's horrific romance movie about two robots that fall in love and run off to the woods, and it is insane and terrible, and I hope you guys check it out. Watch it with us. We were very perplexed watching that film. It's funny. So that's about it. Otherwise, usual Dorkside streams, hangouts, and same time next week here.
Fab stuff. Northern?
Yeah, I should be getting my Love Hate review done, and I might have it released on Valentine's Day.
You shafty.
Fab stuff. So we've also got the Shield. We'll be doing the next two episodes, which is 11 and 12. In theory, this coming Sunday. And we've got episode 13 to cover as well, but I don't think we're going to do that this Sunday. So I think we're going to do another stint, and then we'll sort of reflect back on season 2 and discuss it more in general. Then as soon as we've got a free spot, myself and the Inside Man are going to do a discussion on all 4 movies about Entebbe, the events at Entebbe. We definitely did not come up with the idea for that on this stream. We may have done. No,
it was always planned, wasn't it? Yeah, you planned this months ago, didn't you?
I did. Toxic. Yeah. The answer is no. Once was enough, and that was only when I was in handcuffs. Admiral Teague, thank you so much for the $3 super sticker. Yeah, there are no less than 4 films made about Entebbe. I own 3 of these, and I think Operation Thunderbolt is on YouTube. Raid on Entebbe is on YouTube. I own a VHS of Victory at Entebbe. I still have the box because it's very rare. It's quite a hard film to get, and it was literally filmed in a hurry to beat Raid on Entebbe, which was also in pre-production. So Victory at Entebbe with Richard Dreyfuss, no less, was shot in a real hurry. And then Golan and Globers, of course, not slow to cash in on world tragic events, were quick to bring out Operation Thunderbolt. And then more recently, I think about 6 years ago, we had 7 Days in Entebbe with possible the worst interpretive dance sequence timing in a movie ever. And I'll be talking about that when I do the stream.
I mean, I suppose you could also, maybe to a lesser extent, include Last King of Scotland on that.
That's not about Entebbe per se.
It's not about Entebbe per
briefly.
se.
We can mention it, but
yeah,
I think what I want to do is put these movies against each other and say which is best. I already know the answer, but we'll discuss that at a later stage. Yeah. So this will be an interesting one. There we go. All right, cool.
Yeah, look forward to it.
I think that's about it from us. Thank you, everyone in the chat, for tuning in. We had quite a consistent number of people here every week. I saw Beyond Real Talk was in the chat as well. We are live. And it's tomorrow. It's live. You have a thing. Okay, well, you'll have to watch it on rewatch then. Interview 100. Great to see Toxic lurking about. Always a pleasure. Admiral T, good to have you, sir. I've been on your channel a couple of times. Always been a pleasure. And we've got Nix and various other regulars. Adrian Sherlock from Australia and Down Under. So, and Aaron Charman, good to see you as well. So do like and subscribe. Trying to get up to 10,000 subs by the end of this year. So we're in February. You know, the challenge is on. So I think we'll get there. Just got a couple of things in mind to boost numbers. Until then, until tomorrow at 8 o'clock, which I hope will still be happening. That's it from us. We will see you all again soon.
Hang out with the lamps at the Outcast Creative, where all the misfits and dreamers get innovative. It's film, TV, and theater in the mix. Industry interviews, where ideas get their fix. He's creative, we're creative. How about you? Share your passion, join the crew. At Outcast Creative, we're breaking through. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew. Interviews with fellow artists on the rise, and reviews that might surprise. Films, TV shows from back in the day. You might just find a hidden gem today. He's creative, we're creative. How about you? Share your passion, join the crew. At Outcast Creative, we're breaking through. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew. Filmmakers, comic book creators, stand up proud. Actors, musicians, board game designers, be loud. At Outcast Creative, amazing's the word. He even interviewed the legend, Gail Ann Hurd. He's creative, we're creative. How about you? Share your passion, join the crew. At Outcast Creative, we're breaking through. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew. So come on, take a chance. Join the Outcast, hang with Lance. Bring your vision, your art, your flair. At Outcast Creative, there's always room to share. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew.